All right, I'm here with a bit of a different video, a new discussion video, so I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Today I'll be ranking my opinion. My opinion, which is important to note, I will be ranking the Nintendo systems from what I think is the best to what I think is the worst. Now, I don't think any of the Nintendo systems are bad, per se, but I would say that there are some that are better than others. But I think they all each have their own unique merits, and I think they're all obviously are held up by their game libraries. So I'll be going in and talking about all the systems from the NES to the Wii U. I won't be counting Switch because you can't really you can't look back retrospectively. I feel like there'd be too much recency bias, and you can't really look at it fairly when the system's not over yet. So I think that's probably important to consider. No Virtual Boy and no handhelds. So that's the rules there. Some of you might not like my responses, but I'm very curious to see what your responses would be in the comments below. What your ranking is. So coming in at last place here. This one's probably not a surprise, although I still do like this console a lot. I still think it has a good amount of merit. Coming in at last place is the Wii U. I'm not a huge fan of the when ranking these systems. I'll be ranking them based off of how they look aesthetically, controller, features, game library, all of that. And I'm not a huge fan of how the Wii U looks. It's just kind of a black slab here. Nothing too fascinating, nothing too groundbreaking. It looks a little bit too much like the Wii in some ways. I remember Target, I think it was, did an ad where they said, "Oh, Wii U's on sale here," and they had a picture of a Wii with a gamepad, which was always funny to me. Obviously, gamepad is something to be considered here, and I don't dislike the gamepad as much as most, although I feel like it's kind of missed potential. It was kind of annoying how you couldn't get another one for your system. If yours broke or something, you were out of luck. You can't order. You could order one, pay like a ton of money for it from Nintendo, but you can never buy a separate one. And I would assume you're out of luck now if your gamepad breaks. So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I feel like missed potential that they didn't really do anything with the idea till the Switch. But there was some cool implement. I always liked having it was comfortable, and I always liked having like a map on the screen down below. I thought that was really cool. But overall, I'm not too crazy about the system. The games are good. There's some duds. It felt like we got maybe 2 good years of games, 2013 and 2014, before we started going to the dark ages and got stuff like that Paper Mario game, Color Splash, and Mario. What was that? Mario Tennis. That was pretty rough. But there's some really solid games I liked on the system. But I feel like they've all been improved upon on the Switch. So that's all I have to say about the Wii U here. But I wouldn't say it's a bad system by any means. I still like it. Interface is a little bit clunky. I'm glad they fixed that for the Switch. But overall, pretty solid. Now, next up, people might not like this one being so low, but I gotta speak the truth. The original Nintendo, the NES. I gotta say, I like the NES. It has some of the most important games of all time. And it has some great games. I love the Mega Man games, the old Castlevanias, original Mario, Ninja Gaiden. There's some real gems on there. But as far as the system, I know the system's really iconic, but I'm not crazy about it functionally. I don't like the front-loading nature, and always have to screw with the cartridges to get them to work. You can never get them to work the first time, even with a new pin set half the time. I much prefer the Famicom and the top loader, how those go in like that. But obviously, iconic look, meant to not look as much like a toy as it does like a VCR, pretty much. One big problem I have with it, and this might just be my experience, is that the controller, obviously iconic, classic, but way too small. I mean, what is this? What is this? My hands cover up the whole thing. And I just don't think it's very comfortable. I think Nintendo controllers, for the most part, only went up from there, with one exception maybe. But obviously classic system. And the games are great to play, but I almost feel like they're better playing elsewhere. Next up here, people might not like this one being too low, but I gotta say it. I'm also a bit younger, so that might have something to do with it. But the Super Nintendo, which obviously is a great system, I'm not gonna deny that. Fantastic system. I don't know. I kind of both love and hate the American design that we got. This kind of with the purple buttons. I've always thought it was awesome, but at the same time, I kind of prefer the Famicom and the European Super Nintendo look. But I mean, the library is incredible. Classic RPGs. I just did my collection video. Mario World, Mega Man X, Link to the Past, Super Metroid. I mean, so many classics. You can't deny that the library is incredible. Obviously, not too many functionalities that we can talk. But the controller itself, I think, is the best, the greatest of all time 2D controller. This is peak performance. You might not like it, but this is what it looks like. This is the best controller for 2D games. And it is yet to be beat for playing 2D games. It's incredible. Buttons feel great. Great D-pad. That is undeniable. So, Super Nintendo, I know it seems low to a lot of people, but, has to be done. Next up here, my favorite system to collect for, but obviously I can't say that it's incredible, library-wise, N64. I love collecting for the N64. The box games are fun to collect. I love the different system colors. I always love this, even in, I have the green one up displayed here, but even like the gray one, I've always really liked the look of the system, this kind of rounded look with the cartridge in it. I think it's probably my favorite system design, actually. I think it's really awesome. Something about it I've always just liked. The games, great lineup of first-party games. You kind of start running out of great games pretty fast, but I mean you can't deny like the rareware titles, GoldenEye and the Banjo games and Conquer, Donkey Kong. Of course, Nintendo's first-party games, Ocarina of Time still holds up immaculately. Mario 64, Mario Party, stuff like that. One problem here is the controller. Although I do really like collecting the different colors of controllers. I've always thought that was pretty fun, but man, what kind of bizarro world controller is this? Although I will say it does work great for the games on the system. I think that's kind of a Nintendo thing of like, you don't want to ever use this controller for anything else, but man, using this thing to play Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time, awesome. So yeah, I gotta put Nintendo 64 up there. Pretty important multiplayer system for, the 4 controller ports, and just some really great games. I think that Nintendo's first-party games, with a few exceptions, hold up still very, very well. And may not look great, but are still fun to play. I mean, you can still go back to Ocarina of Time, and it's still immaculate. You can still go back to, Banjo-Kazooie and have a great time, regardless of how they look, how they run. Now, this next one here, I don't know how people are going to feel about this being so high. But I gotta give credit where credit is due. The Wii. This might be because, I played a ton of Wii. This is one of my most played systems of all time. I played so much stuff on the Wii. And the Wii has a huge library. That can't be contested. Obviously, do you want to play most of those games on the Wii? No. The Wii has pretty much, I don't know, maybe a 1 to 10 good game ratio. But, of a system with over 1,000 games, 100 games that are good on the system is still pretty good. Mario Galaxy is excellent. Mario Kart Wii is a lot of fun. I really like Animal Crossing City Folk. I thought that one was great. We got some re-releases like the Pikmin re-release, which is pretty good. A lot of great stuff on here. A lot of fun party games, even though there's more bad party games than there were good party games. But I've always liked it. Functionality was great. A lot of great features, I would say. I remember, it's pretty quaint and dated now, and it was quaint and dated for the time, but I always liked sending messages to my friends, and the We Speak messages, which is ridiculous to think. I mean, the original Xbox was more far ahead with online, but I don't know. I always liked it. I like the look of it too. It has that kind of Apple-y look, like like that sleek minimalist design, and it always looked great, especially when you get that stand and the blue light shining on it. Always thought it looked really, really cool. And I've always liked the remote. I know it's not optimal for a lot of games, but I always like controlling stuff with the remote. The motion controls were like Wii Sports and stuff was always fun. Motion controls for most games were not fun, and some of the I found going back to the Wii's a little bit hard because some of the pointer controls aren't great. But I gotta say, I mean, I probably wouldn't put the Wii so high up there if it also didn't play GameCube games, if it didn't play all the Virtual Console, which was a Virtual Console on Wii was fantastic, even if you can't download games from it anymore. I still gotta say, the Wii is great. It has a huge library of awesome games. Some interesting third-party games where they're not, just the same stuff on 360, but they're just weird, bizarre games. Cool stuff on there. I feel like it was a good time for Nintendo just because there's so many systems out there. Everyone was trying to make a good game for the Wii, and very few, succeeded at that, but I still think that there's some good stuff on there. And it should come as no surprise what the final system, especially if you know your Nintendo systems, obviously, but especially if you've watched my channel, you'll know the greatest system of all time is the only system with a handle, the Nintendo GameCube. The GameCube's fantastic. I love the design. How can I say the N64 is the best design of this system when it's clearly the GameCube? The mini disc's a little bit weird, but still fantastic. So many great games. I love Mario Sunshine. I feel like they were really experimental with the GameCube with a lot of stuff they put out, like Mario Sunshine, Wind Waker, stuff like that. You got Animal Crossing coming to the West for the first time, which was, still one of my all-time favorites. You got some really great third-party games like Resident Evil 4. Metroid Prime is fantastic, stuff like that. I gotta give it to the GameCube. It's awesome. And of course, you can't mention the GameCube without mentioning the controller. This is a Wavebird here, but both of them are great. You could still use this controller on the Wii, on the Wii U, and on the Switch. So you obviously know that something was right. I know a lot of people criticize the buttons, but I've always really liked it. I think it works well with the games, especially like Metroid Prime, where you got the big old A button is the shoot button, because that's the one you're going to be using the most. Excellent controller. I'm not huge on the little nipple stick. I'm not huge on the D-pad. And this always been a weird button. It did its purpose. But GameCube, fantastic. Another system, especially with like progressive scan, the games still look really, really great to this day. And they still hold up. There's a lot of PS2 games and Xbox games that don't hold up. But I mean, you could put in Wind Waker and it'd be like you're playing a brand new game. That game still holds up. Metroid Prime still looks great. Mario Sunshine still looks great. It's a fantastic system. Even like the Mario parties were fun as well. There's even some good multiplayer games on there too. Mario Kart, stuff like that. But fantastic system. Paper Mario is another one I know a lot of people like. And of course, it has a handle. So hopefully I didn't destroy my channel with putting out opinions, but I'd like to see everyone else's opinions down in the comments below. Give me your rankings. Give me your thoughts on all Nintendo systems and where you would put them. Tell me how wrong I am. I'm not wrong, though. My opinions are always right. Either way, make sure to leave a like. Leave a comment as well with some video ideas you'd like me to do, or maybe questions you had about topics you'd like me to cover for videos, because I'm trying to figure out stuff to do while I can't do pickup videos. And make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like the video because it helps out a lot. Follow me on Twitter at ObjoGaming, and I will see you next time.